to arrive.
This meeting is being recorded.
Awesome. Awesome. Nicole, is Ashley and Mia joining? Are they around?
Mia's with someone at the moment, just in a meeting. Ashley, I'm not too sure.
Not yet. Okay. Well, we can begin without them and catch up when they arrive. Do you want to share your screen, Bianca?
Yep. Are you able to see that on your small phone? Is that working?
I can see, yeah, I can.
All right.
So thanks guys for joining. We are sort of at the end of the 4-week sort of principle series, learning about HubSpot and the ins and outs. I think there's been a lot of information that's been passed on from us to you guys. And again, we just reiterate that the best way to learn what's actually what HubSpot can do for you and your business is to use it. So we're going to encourage you to continue to use that over, obviously, from March going forward. And any sort of questions that you may have with regards to capturing deals and that the head office team is here to support you. The last session today, what we decided to just run through with you was Bianca and I were chatting about this, the deal reporting side. So if you log into HubSpot, the reporting is right at the end at the top. You can see the reports tab. So there's a couple of sort of sub menus there. And Bianca, we're going to click straight on reports, right? We're not doing anything else.
Okay, let's go through to the report side of things.
So what we've done, and I'm not sure on the permissions who can see what, but you'll see on your screen that we've created a number of reports that the principals can obviously use. And just a reminder again that these reports are fully customizable for you. So if you say, Jonathan, I'd actually like a report that says this or a report that says that, then we can actually go in and design it for you. For me in my business, there's basically two types of two main ways that I'd like to pull reports. One would be a report at any point during the week, you know, sort of as at that time, where do we stand in terms of deals, lodgements, etc. And the other type of report would be one that's then automated and gets delivered to everyone on a Friday morning. So you know, just focusing on those sort of two categories, we can obviously then split that further into reports on our deals and reports on the contacts, but also sort of geared more towards how we monitor and manage the activities of our agents. So I think the most important thing where to begin, Bianca, is on the deal reporting, or at least the conveyancing pipeline reporting. So do you maybe want to give us a bit of an indication on what we could be seeing from a conveyancing report? Let's start off with the sort of weekly recurring.
So it really depends very much on how you would like to base them, yes. And my first recommendation would be to try and emulate the kind of reports that you're looking at the present moment that aren't in HubSpot. Yes, because whatever it is that you have, 9 times out of 10, it can be replicated in HubSpot for you. Yes, it looks slightly different and its terminology is slightly different. That's pretty much the big thing But the numbers, you know, when it comes to actually understanding your business and the kind of business intelligence that you gain, the insight that you gain from it, right, is absolutely spectacular. Yeah. So for instance, I've just hopped into the conveyancing pipeline, and most of the time when we've been talking about this, we've been looking at it as a list, or what HubSpot calls a table view. Yes, and you, I just want to remember the one that you use, the view that
It's
you
just
use.
ACID's all deals.
ACID's all deals. That's right. So I'm just going to save that for myself quickly, because, you know, that is pretty much probably what the majority of principals, franchises are used to looking at, is looking at a spreadsheet, correct? Yeah. And you've preset that here so that in this particular view, you can see where what is in lines, so in rows, in lists of data, and the data that we still need, correct? Yeah.
Cool.
But now the thing that we haven't built as yet, yes, is we could replicate exactly this, exactly how you have it, for instance, to show total commission percentage, total commission VAT, total internal commission, and all these other number fields, for instance, that we have, yes, title types and so on and so forth. When we're looking at it over here, obviously we're just seeing rows and rows and rows of data, but what's missing on the view side, inside the actual sales module, is the totals, correct? Yeah. And I think those are the kind of things that we pretty much expect to see usually on a spreadsheet. Am I right? So how much is lodged, how much is registered, and those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
So I think you demonstrated this already, correct me if I'm wrong, but we already looked at if we change over from our standard table view to our actual pipeline view, we immediately see those totals. And if I remember correctly, the amount that you are filling in per deal in your conveyancing pieces is always your net commission. Am I right?
Yes.
So that's commission ex VAT, irrespective of whether the office is VAT compliant. What's the word that
VAT
I'm
registered
looking
or
for?
not.
VAT registered or not? Correct. Thank you. Sorry about the bad word there. Right.
Okay.
But so we're looking at net commission, and just to reiterate again as well, that at the moment we're looking at across the board. So we'd want to look at this office by office, right?
Yeah.
So perhaps one of the one of the principals that's with us this morning would like to volunteer that we just have a look at their specific data set. Which team should we pick?
So I mean, we've got Hillcrest and Bluff with us, but because this is maybe something a little bit more, we're really delving into personal information, and also, you know, it is being recorded for future. I'm happy if you try either the KZN South Coast team or the Hilton team. That will have data there.
Okay, so I'm going to select the Hilton team. Yes.
Okay.
And now remember, what we're busy doing at the moment is we're basically echoing what the branches, what the franchises would be seeing, correct?
Yeah, so I just want to remind also everyone listening is that even though we have in the deal capture, we have a linked branch and a linked agent, HubSpot deals with the set field of a team. And so the team is more, the kind of grouping. So rather, if you're looking to, well, it will be preset for you, but rather think of it as the HubSpot team of ACID's Hilton, rather than the filtering by the linked branch Hilton, if you know what I mean. But anyway, just a point there.
Yeah,
so what have you got on your screen?
The difference is a team is internal logic. A branch is literally just a tag. It's just a information flag. Are you with me? Yes. So this would be one specific group of users, which is a team, which in our world is a specific office, correct? A specific franchise, right? So here immediately you can see your deal cards, and then you immediately also looking at the totals that come up. So you can see how many individual deals we are busy talking about. For instance, here, yes, everything that is a brand new signed OTP, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, so that is signed off, and we know that that is going to go through. I haven't filtered by date in any which way here, by the way, because obviously
Yeah.
that would be for the principals. That would be the most crucial thing, is to segment this data into months. Yes, so
Yes,
which month
yeah.
it is, but because we don't have all the data sitting here as yet, yeah, because we don't have it by date. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing that at the moment. But you'd want to see everything that came in January. Can I just demo that quickly?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay. So if we want to see anything that was created in January, yes, we would again go to our filters, and we use, sorry if I can type correctly, we use the create date functionality. And as you can see, you can really work with presets. Yeah, so this week so far, last week, next week, this month so far, last month, this quarter, this fiscal quarter. That depends on your settings of how your fiscal year is set up. So a huge amount of presets that you can just very quickly pop one of them, yeah, into this section. So should we go this year so far?
Yeah, let's do that.
There's some data there. So it's immediately deselected all the others that were sitting here, right? And we're just looking at what we've captured this year so far at this point.
So what's so interesting is that you know, getting the principals and administrators to understand the concept of data, and making sure that they know the correct filters for, you know, that. So if you scroll go back to the left hand side, you've selected this year, we're in February. So in terms of this information and the filters, there hasn't been any deals that have been created since 1 January that have gone to lodging and registered, because we're still within the first 2 months, and it takes, you know, sort of on average 3 months. So it's important to understand that, well, that everyone understands that the truth is, the more filters you put in, the more refined that list becomes. The more, how do I say, the shorter the list, you know, because you're putting in the more filters. So I think it's also, when we get to the reporting side, to understand that sometimes more is actually less. It just depends on what you actually want to see.
That is where we have to start. We will have to start with what reports are crucial to your business and which reports will give us enhanced value, because otherwise we're going to get lost in this land of reporting, where we can literally report on every single kind of data in the system, because it is so well constructed from that perspective, and we don't want to get lost there. You know, we rather want to have, ideally what we'd like to do is to have everybody's input, I think, correct? Obviously there'll be specific company presets, right? But I think, Jonathan, we chatted about this, to have your input, to say, right, I want to look at my data this way. I want to see by week where we're at, or by month, you know, and those kinds of things. And then what we would do is we would create a specific dashboard that would be filtered again by team and so on and so forth, where you look at all these statistics in one go. So please don't worry, we won't make you try and do all these reports and so on. I think I've scrolled around a lot.
I've tried so many, and
lot.
I still cannot get to see it. So it is very intricate, and that's why we have you here. Thank you, Bianca. I just want to ask if you wouldn't mind going back to the spreadsheet view for these filters.
All right. So remember, once you've applied filters here, once you've chosen a pipeline and you've applied specific filters, these will remain. It doesn't matter which way you swap in your view. Yes. So HubSpot in the background is holding onto that filter set for you. Can you see that's still highlighted? Yeah. Yes. And if you click there, exactly the same thing is
It
still
tells you what you've got.
correct.
Yeah. So, and then just remind us if the principal wants to save a view for themselves, there's the save view button, but they won't be able to save the changes to my view, the AKITS all deals view. They'll have to copy, is that correct? Or duplicate, I think is the word.
Well, you don't necessarily duplicate, right? Say, for instance, you just want to look at this year's data or this month's data. Yeah, so these are very simple presets. You would not need to pick that one for yourselves, but if you just want to look at your date filters, for instance, now. So you've chosen the date filter that you want to work with, right?
Okay.
You're going to go to save view, yes. Yeah, so you can see here that it says it was created by someone else. So you cannot adjust what someone else did. I can't override you, Jonathan. Yes, even if I wanted to, right? I can't change this. This is your view, and this is set in stone. So the way that the officers would do this is they would save as new. Yes, and then you would name it. So it would be this year so far deal view. I recommend naming your sheets. You know, it's sort of very much like naming a spreadsheet in a very standardized way for yourselves, that you normally name spreadsheets. Yes, like you've done in the past, right? And remember that you can, if you choose, share it, yes, with everyone, because remember, they wouldn't see your data ever. Yes, they would see the columns that you've chosen and the filters that you've chosen, but HubSpot itself will automatically take out all the data that doesn't belong to somebody. Yes, okay, so it's as simple as that. My recommendation would be, as you start setting up filters for yourselves and for the administrators, I think this is crucial. The teams that will be working with the conveyancing in the specific offices will need their views. Absolutely, will need a specific way of looking at the data that they're used to, so that they can gain that overview and work with it, right?
Perfect.
So then, yes, you would. I've been added as a user to head office. Not that I'm part of head office, but that was just for practice. Right. Sorry about that, Jonathan. I didn't start working for you. You don't have to pay me anything. Right. Okay, so you would select your team and then save it. Should I just save it? Because I'm just going to quickly actually show. I'm just going to quickly actually show. By the way, you can only pin 5. Yes, it's only possible to pin 5 tabs here at any given stage. They might increase that at some point. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this pin because I don't have any deals in the system. Yeah, and as you can see, I lost the one that I just worked at. So let me get it back. There it is. This year so far deal view. And then I can pin that. We did discuss that last time around, but just as a quick reminder. Yes. Say for instance, you created a view as a test and you don't want it anymore. It's very simple. You just delete it. This is where you were saying you can also clone something. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And perhaps the one thing that we haven't chatted about yet, if you want to pull a fast report, there is your export. Yes.
Okay.
So if
and
you
that
want
exports it to, what does that export it?
Should I demo it quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to pick your view, yes, because it has your preset columns, right? So I'm going to pick that specific one. So I'm going to say export. Then I have the choice of CSV or Excel for this specific report. Other reports in HubSpot, like for instance, pie charts, bar graphs, all those kinds of things, you can also export those as PDFs. All right. Every single reporting type is exportable. Please note that this is highly obviously permission-based. So only management has this functionality. Yes, we don't want anybody to be able to perform exports out of your system. I'm sure that everybody will agree with that. That is the right way to do this.
100%.
100%. Okay. Yeah. So you have the choice of saying only properties in the view. That means you are sticking to exactly the preset that you have. Please don't press the all properties on records button, because you will literally download a spreadsheet with 200, 300 columns. Okay, there will be a spectacular amount of data to the extent that very, very rarely has been seen. Yes. So let's stick to only properties in the view. All I do is I hit that export button. It'll say that it is busy processing. As soon as it arrives, it'll be in my notification center on the little bell. I can click on that. What Hubspot is doing is it's performing the download. Yeah, and then I can access that on my machine straight away. Let's just go here. Okay, sorry, I accidentally forgot that I shouldn't be doing that in Excel. Apologies for that. Let me just rather do this. Sorry, apologies about that, but we use Google, so G Suite. So that is the way that I download. Got a little bit ahead of myself there at the moment. You do use Excel, am I right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
So
we
you
on
won't have
Office
to do this
365.
long-winded way of doing it.
No.
No. Yes.
There we go.
Note the way that it is capturing this. Yes. Remember, my filters were on, and I was looking for only one office, and I was only looking at this year so far. Correct. So can you see it's maintained that in the system? But it's given me what you are probably more used to, which is the actual spreadsheet with all the data in an actual spreadsheet, so that you can immediately see what the situation is, what data has been captured, what data hasn't been captured.
So I think that's a great point. If you go back to HubSpot, to that screen, so you've got the export, and if you scroll to the right, the principals and administrators will see that I've included various columns in that spreadsheet there that I think are columns that I find value. So, for example, bond amounts. I'd like to know, how much mortgage origination business we are giving our mortgage originators. I've got a column for conveyancing firms. I'd like to know how many deals we've given to each of the conveyancing firms. Deposit amount. I mean, there's like you said, there's over 200 potential columns, but I've already filtered that and brought forward on my view that all ACITS all deals view the columns that I think would be valuable. But again, it is possible for the principals to say to us, listen, I'd actually like to see this information as well. It's not to say that the information's not there. It's just, this is the view, is we filtered out the stuff that is not, we don't see at this point as being valuable.
There is a lot of data in your view already. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the bulk of it, in my personal opinion, and if I look across, the work that we do with other clients and so forth, these are the crucial pieces. These are the kind of pieces of data that you shouldn't live without.
That's it.
Ideally. Yes.
What is there which is quite interesting, Bianca, and I'm also trying to get everyone to start thinking about the reporting, the graphs and all of that, is things like number of bedrooms, type of property as well. So typically we've had all of that on the listing side of our business, but in terms of the deal capture and the deal management, we haven't been able to specify, never mind how many freestanding houses we've listed in the last 12 months, but how many freestanding houses we've sold. So, what this then starts to give us is a database of how we can actually start identifying where our sweet spot is in terms of our areas, and start building up the data, which we can then pull into reports, and we can get quite sort of fancy, when you start looking at percentages and target markets. You know, it's really interesting. And I think the most important one there for me is the I don't know if it's on the deal side, but the lead source. So i.e. private property, property 24, or AKITS. I don't know if that's on your screen.
It's not on the view. It's not on the view that you picked there, but I actually saw it on one of your dashboards. Yeah, I actually saw that you already have that as a report. That's
So,
preset. I just need to quickly find. There's your deal report by portal.
Yeah. So
yeah. Do you mind if I make that a little bit bigger, just for?
No, go for it.
Okay.
So
just
where this starts sort of moving towards for me is to be able to at a franchise branch level, but also at a group level, to be able to measure exactly, never mind where all the majority of our leads are coming from, our contacts, but also the conversion of those leads into actual sales and where those buyers actually came from. So I can be spending 10,000 Rand with Property 24 every single month. But if my buyer leads are coming from my circle of influence or another source, what it then does is helps me as a business owner to actually start targeting and sort of spending more marketing budget on where those leads are coming from. Do you agree?
Absolutely. You want to understand. You want to understand your business, and you want to understand where your business value needs to sit. Yes. You want to know that every cent that you spend is valuable spend. And HubSpot gives you that ability. These, because we're looking at conveyancing reports here in this report at the moment, yes, because this is manual capture, that specific data field hasn't been captured in most cases. Yeah, as you can see, that data field was neglected in the bulk of the data, yes, but it was captured in one. Just to reiterate that when we push the lead data into the system, so when Prop Data furnishes your base data into HubSpot for you, that is immediately included. Okay.
Yes.
So that is immediately, so I can just very quickly demonstrate that. That is visible currently in your contacts. Yeah. And if I'm looking at all records that we have, all I need to do here is I need to say, okay, I want to look at what my lead sources are, and say, for instance, I'm looking for private property, just to spice it up a little bit. Out of that complete data set that we had, that is where we know exactly where these leads originated from.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's your lead source in your contacts. So that's
in context now. Now,
yeah, correct.
but in the deal section, so unless, and we spoke about this last week, was the linking or the tagging of a contact to a deal, associated contacts. I can't remember the exact terminology.
Associated contact, correct.
So if that deal has an associated contact that comes through Prop Data and has the lead source site linked to it, then that will obviously pull onto that deal report, which you were looking at just now.
Correct. That's when we can look at that report and we can say, so the buyer, yes, because that's the crucial data that we want to see where that lead came from at this point, yes. At a later stage, obviously, you also want to know how our sellers are finding us, because that is really your primary client, correct? Yeah.
That's a whole different pipeline. Yeah.
I know it's a whole different pipeline, but it is crucial in that data set, because that's really where your stock comes from. Yeah. So I think the bulk of those don't come to you digitally at the moment, if I'm correct. I'm not sure.
No, but we are talking to guys like Flow to run seller campaigns. So we would be able to then link those to where that seller lead came from. But we're still a couple of weeks away from that.
Yes.
Bianca, I
but we
want to
can
just go.
see, obviously we're in early days and there are crucial pieces of information missing in how we're capturing the deals so far, because we're just getting started with this. But the more we get into the habit of doing a complete data capture every time we do it, yes, the more valuable, the more we see how much business intelligence this tool can actually give us.
So I want to do a practical thing here. You've got a Hilton deal open. So if we can just on the left-hand side scroll down. So we've got about the deal, and typically what an administrator or principal will do is they take the front page or two and they start capturing the information, and that's the deal information. But what we're alluding to is there's more detail there. So if we, you've got your buyer details, we've put that in. If that associated contact doesn't have that information, can the principal manually add that source, that lead source? Or
Absolutely.
is that dangerous? Is it dangerous because, you know, typically agents may say, oh, I got it off private property or whatever.
Because we've been capturing your data into the back end here for quite some time, we'll always know what the original was. Are you with me? Yes. When it comes to brand new people that we don't have any kind of a digital trace with, yes, then we'd need to rely on the data that's being given to us at the first point here.
Perfect. So then my encouragement to everyone watching is we are in the learning stages and we're encouraging you to capture your deals, but maybe just to try and populate this sort of page where you are now with as much data. Specifically for me, the lead source, I want to know where the client came from. I'd also like to know number of bedrooms, I think is important, property type and mandate type as well. And I guess area, you know, the suburb or area would be important. If that's not already there, that's been pulled through that associated contact to capture that information. And I think if we get into that habit now of populating this this deal sheet with as much of that info as possible, that we will see far greater results in a shorter space of time when we get to the reporting side.
Absolutely. Because we're early days, the bulk of this is manual, but it's going to become much, much, much more automated.
Yeah. You know, it's important for us when we get to the agents training coming up, we want to be able to show the principals, administrators and agents as much value. So even though, you know, sooner, because the more value we can actually put across to them now, the higher our adoption rate will actually be in terms of capturing that information. Bianca, I wanted to just touch on something. I've spoken to a few of the principals, and on the deals section, the deals page, just a confirmation that estate agents don't have the ability at this point in terms of their permissions to edit any of the deals, only view. Can we just confirm that for everyone, because it can get quite sticky, and so I'd like to rather start with a restricted profile setup rather than giving them, you know, access, and we can look at adjusting it down the line where there are exceptions.
So my immediate recommendation here would be to, if you don't want to start with your agents looking at the conveyancing pipeline for now, yes, we would want to restrict that to users. So only
it's like my 10-year-old. They can look, but they can't touch. So we don't want them to.
Yeah, so there we have to lock your properties data fields. Okay. Yes, so we would have to go to this specific data field and say only branch management can adjust this field.
Oh, really?
So we need to set that up. I'm going to make a note of that quickly.
Yeah, let's do that, because it's so important that especially, you know, we're talking about data and we're talking about desiring a specific outcome. And if the principals and administrators can't verify that that data is actually accurate because there's been too many people that have had access to it, it then undermines that reporting in my mind.
No, 100%. I immediately agree with you when there.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
So that's the general feeling.
But I recommend in any case, because there is so much to consume, because the system is so vast, that we just simply not show it for now. Right. We sort of just want to say, right, we'd like you to focus on your lead management. Are you with me?
Okay.
Yes. And this
Yeah.
is what needs to happen in your pipeline. And this is what happens in your contact record. And just start with that for a month or two until everybody is gotten used to that piece. Then we say, oh, and look, by the way, all that stuff that you've been working on, here is what you already can see as a result of it. I don't know if you agree with me. I don't know if
No,
everybody
100%.
in the call
So
agrees.
so we're going to start agent training next week, and let's just confirm to everyone that's watching that that agents will not have the ability to edit or even maybe view this conveyancing pipeline unless we show it to them. You know, it should be relatively easy, and then we can slowly release those restrictions as time goes on. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you?
Okay, perfect. Yes, I think baby steps, because the system is vast. I'm fairly certain that most of our audience today is likely to agree with that, because it is a vast system with much more than you would anticipate from, you know,
Yeah.
a piece of software. It's quite a lot more than you had to learn when you open an Excel spreadsheet for the first time. Right.
So just on that, then I would encourage the administrators to, when they get a signed offer submitted to them, principals, that that's accompanied by a copy of the listing form, and then they can pull the number of bedrooms, property type, mandate type, etc. So then they'd
Perhaps
have
we
that
need
as
to-
part of their sale agreement pack.
Yeah, perhaps we need to add those pieces. Yes, maybe we make it a lot easier in this property information section, because the data
They
fields are
are,
there.
yeah.
They're just not added into the specific part. You're only looking at your suburb at this present moment here.
And
yes?
it'll be there, it'll just be lower. I think I've got a new separate thing for it.
Have you added it to a different piece? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
So that's conveyancing and so on and so forth. So ideally it would be sitting in property information, correct?
Okay.
Right.
Well, let's make that. We can always just move it up as well, because I think what happened also is you can copy it, so it can appear in one section and another. Is that right? That it's the same.
That's 100% right. Yeah. So we could have it in the about this deal section, which is global, by the way. This piece, this thing here called about this deal cannot be hidden from anybody. Yes. So all users would always see that, whereas currently only specific teams are seeing the commission, the deposit and cash details, the bond and bank details, the conveyance.
Scroll down for me there a bit.
Yeah, that's it. I'm at the bottom.
Is that it? Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, so
it's quite a lot of different sections already. Yeah. So it's
okay, property information. All right. Let's put that there. I'm just watching the time again. We've got 20 minutes. If we can go back to the reports and sort of start, then we understand the data, we understand where it comes from, we understand responsibilities, who can add, who can't add. So on the reporting side, on a dashboard, what would a typical principal dashboard look like? And how can we, what sort of reports, like, as an example, I have in my mind, two main criteria. One would be like value of deals, and another would be volume of deals or number of deals. So that wouldn't be something that we could put on a single report, or what, I don't know what you call the squares there, the sort of
Yeah, so
tiles, if you want to.
each one of these tiles, yeah, if we want to call it those, that is a separate report. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can have one that would be called count of deals, yes, by
Okay.
amount, totals. Okay, so
Okay.
here we're looking at a specific, we're looking at lead source in this specific
Mhm.
report, but we can immediately change this and we can immediately break this down to show us the deal value. Yes,
Okay.
because that's data that's inside those 6, inside those 4 and 11 and so on and so forth. If that makes sense, right? So we can see immediately exactly how many deals. So we can see there's 22 deals and 11 deals or whatever the case is for each specific team or per agent. Yes, and I think for a principal, you'd want to break this down for your agents, correct? You'd want to see that Johnny has got 4 deals in the conveyancing pipeline at the moment, and the total net commission value of that is, I don't know, 600K. I'm not sure. Yes. So
Yeah, sure.
Shooting a number out there.
That's it. And then
That's technically called a deal leaderboard. Yes, because it always sorts it by your agent with the most deals.
So interestingly, I think Kayla's still here, and one of the things I love about the Bluff team, and I think Hillcrest have something similar, is a weekly agent of the week social media campaign. And that agent of the week, I don't know if the criteria changes. I seem to remember that it does. Being of the 1 week, the agent of the week is the one that signs the most sole mandates. And then the next week, it's the agent that negotiates on average the highest percentage commission. So, I mean, what I'm understanding from what you're saying is we could actually preset those different criteria, and you can kind of automatically at branch and franchise level, but also at group level on a weekly basis, kind of say, well, in the last 5 or 7 days, this is the agent that signed the most sole mandates. These are the agents that have signed the most offers. These are the agents that have negotiated the highest percentage commission on average. Am I right there?
If that data is captured, the crucial if in this whole sentence is that data needs to be captured or it needs to be transported into the system. Yes, like with your seller records, right?
So I know that Kayla's here. Then wouldn't that be, if we take this as a digital version of the manual sheet that they do every week, wouldn't that then be yeah, I mean, we could, if it's a motivation then for administrators, principals, and even the agents to ensure that that information is actually captured, because it then it goes towards that weekly, monthly, and the group figures. When we talk about quarterly and biannual and annual group figures, this is basically a live representation of the ACIT's annual awards and where everyone stands. So
correct. So as soon as an administrator in any office captures that data, currently it's sitting on a spreadsheet on a machine somewhere. Yes, hopefully it's being saved to the cloud at this present moment already, right?
yes,
but say, for instance, you don't have backup of that in an office somewhere, yes, you might have to recapture the last 3 weeks of data if something gets lost or something like that, which is why whatever data it is that you currently handle and work with in every office, you want it in Hubspot.
Yeah.
Rather than capture it on your spreadsheet, you want to capture it into the Hubspot and in inverted commas spreadsheets, because that's what the data sets are here. Yes, they are spreadsheets.
So I've got 2 questions to ask before the end of the session, and then we can round it off. The first is, if you go back to the deals page, okay, so we just hop off reports. and we go to that, the sort of the other view, not the sheet. What do you call the other one again?
The pipeline view.
Tile. That as part of that, if you scroll across, okay, if you remove your filters, just clear all filters, and you go across to registered and commission paid. So you and I spoke at some point that the registered, commission paid, and even cancelled deals, we can write a rule that after a certain period that those get removed from this and get moved onto a completely separate pipeline called the registered pipeline. Because when you're doing reports and you wanting to say, well, how many deals have I done, this year? If you, unless you, I suppose you can also put a filter date in that as well. You can do annual, but this registered pipeline sort of column will just never ending be, it'll just grow and grow and grow.
Yes, that's the whole game. Yeah, that's why we're doing all this work, is because we obviously want this column to grow and grow and grow and grow. And this
but
one
I'm saying it will
grow
continue.
too.
It will remain on the conveyancing pipeline, but then that will also skew the data, the deal data. So we can actually, after a period, remove it off and put it on. It could even be, once a year at the end of the financial year, and put it on the conveyancing
I might
pipeline.
recommend the bulk of my clients do it quarterly. Yes.
Okay.
So they would, like, every quarter they would have it. Yes. And then they would clear everything that has registered for that specific quarter, and basically put that into an archive pipeline. So a pipeline where nothing moves ever again. Yes, it's static. Yeah, it stays exactly as is because it was captured at that specific point in time, and it is complete. Yes, it's complete data that should not ever be adjusted again. So you would then ultimately, yes, you could call it, like you've got a Fusion Historic, but you would have archive registered, archive cancelled, for instance. Yes. Yeah.
That's what that Fusion Historic is basically. We can always rename it. We didn't want to lose all the registered deal information in Fusion. We know we're capturing everything new, but that's what Fusion Historic. So we could just actually rename that to historic or historical deals or whatever. There was a question by Laura Bianca, which I thought was very good, and I just want to get clarity. The question is, can this be printed out? And I just want to ask Laura if you can unmute herself, and just say, Laura, are you saying a single deal, like a single breakdown deal report?
Yes. So
Okay,
if you capture one deal, to print that out to put it in a file.
So
it won't look like this. Yes.
Yeah.
It will be all these lines of data. It'll look like this. Yes.
So
it'll look like this, and you'd want to select your columns in order, if that makes sense again, right? Sure. But you literally, if I'm just going to demo this quickly, if you don't mind.
So Laura, what Bianca's saying is it can be in a spreadsheet format, but are you talking about like a single page per deal kind of format? Like a brochure type of thing?
The information that we are capturing, it can be with all the buyers' details, or the conveyances, or the commission breakdowns, and all that, just so we have an actual hard copy.
Like a cover page kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can immediately pick what we want on that spreadsheet. Yes. Out of all of these different fields of data. Yes. And we can have that as a preset view, which can then be exported.
So can I ask Bianca, so we're going to get onto automations. We could write something and just help me. If we move something into registered, Laura, would you like it at registered stage, or would you like it? I mean, we even had a second one, which is commission paid. So even though it deals registered, we still have another additional status, which has been, okay, this commission has been actually paid by the conveyancer. is there a specific stage, or you just want something at the end? So when are you thinking of printing and putting this in your file?
At registration, when the commission was paid and the deal was closed off.
Perfect. So Bianca, I mean, we could run a, I don't know what you call it, a rule that when a deal, so if a deal's moved into registered, could it send a single page report to the principal on email in PDF format for printing?
We could build a PDF report like that. It might be a little bit complex. For the purposes that we're looking at of having a hard copy printed, I would actually send an internal email with all the rows of data that you're looking at. And you can format that email to look, you know, very specific. You know, you can ignore sort of things like dear. Are you with me? Yes. You can say registered deal in, and then you would say the date, for instance. Yes.
Okay.
And then you can have a whole section that includes all the buyer details, all the seller details, the key commission pieces, whatever pieces of data it is that you want on your, let's call it cover sheet, right? So you would then get this email dropped that you can print out straight away.
Something. Okay, well, we can work on that, Laura, but I think the point is that that I really believe anything is possible. It's just aligning, you know, what it is that you guys see. Maybe you can give us an example of what you have in terms of a, or, yeah, I mean, we can sit and draw something up. I'm happy to do that for you. I just know that also, so it's almost like that if you go back to the reports page, Bianca, that dashboard. So it's like a tile like that for that deal with price, seller, everything, but only for the one deal, only for that one deal that was registered.
Correct. So it can be in this kind of a format. Yes. Yeah. But you might be able to adjust this visualization and make it fancier. Yes, you have the tools for it. We haven't done something like that in the past, but we can try and work our way around it. Yeah, where literally you would end up having all these pieces of data, yeah, sitting in just your most recent, we could call it most recent registered deal, for instance.
That's it. So Laura's actually then raised a very good question, which is something that I've wanting to build for head office as well, is again, so with the idea that when you move something into the registered or commission paid column, that all the associated, the agents that are associated with that deal plus principal administrator, is that an email goes to each of those with their commission breakdown. So price and their percentage split on that deal. So Laura's calling it a commission voucher. I know on Fusion we called it the sort of the below the line breakdown, but there wasn't like, so I'm thinking of it's a payslip type of thing, but it's not actually a payslip, where the agent and more the principal knows exactly which agent or what to pay which agent on that deal. So,
Right.
so that would be another
so
sort of
commission
tailored
breakdown.
commission breakdown. I don't know if we put PAYE as part of that, but that would then, Laura, would you be able to put in the PAYE on that prior to, or would you have to then work it out afterwards? So i.e. would the commission voucher need to include a section for PAYE, or you just want
on the actual payslip, so that if the agents need proof of income for whatever reason, they have everything on there.
Okay, because I know that if they're not on a if they're not on a tax directive, you have to, which is the flat 18% PAYE, they would have to, you'd have to manually put in how much, depending on how much they've earned and what the payroll system is sort of generating. So I think let's ring fence that, because what I don't want to do is send an agent a voucher that says, okay, you're paying this much tax, but when it actually comes to payment, it's less, you know, and then you get confused. I'll actually talk to Mia about that because I know that's something we want from head office. Very, very important, you know, and even a royalty voucher as well. Hey, Laura, that would be amazing. So we know. I want to go to, what's the time? 2 minutes left. Any other questions? I see Rose is here and Kayla. Is there anything else that you guys would sort of see value in, Rose and Kayla, from a reporting point of view? Kayla doesn't have a mic, so you can always type your questions in. No, I don't think so. Bianca, is there anything that you want to sort of close off with?
The more samples we get of what you currently use, the quicker and easier we can build these into HubSpot for you.
Okay.
That's crucial. Once you tell us what you need, we can from there work it.
Awesome. And then the last thing is, so this is my dashboard, which is this my one or your one?
I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember which we created where.
One of the takeaways from this session that I wanted was to then work on an automated email that goes out to all the principals with a breakdown of their deals on a weekly basis. You know, that they could see exactly how many deals they have at each stage. I think that's, you know, so one would be a number, one tile would be number, one tile would be value, rand value. And then also I know that the principals generally have a meeting on a Monday morning. And part of that, they want feedback from their agents. So they would like to know from their agents, you know, how many new contacts, how many viewings, how many, etc.
Correct. So we would create recurring emails once those dashboards are fleshed out per office.
Okay.
Yes, and then that would perhaps be sent on a Friday morning. Yeah, so you can pick exactly when you want to send it. So you want to send it weekly, you want to send it on a Friday, you want to send it at 10 a.m., let's say. Yes. And then, you know, without fail, every 10 a.m. you will have the latest data as it has been captured, because it is dynamic. Yes, it'll never be static. Whatever gets captured and updated will immediately be in the system for you, and it'll immediately be added to the reports if it's
even
part
if
of your
it's 5 minutes to 8.
Even if it's 5 minutes to 10, 2 minutes to 10, it'll update it. Yes,
Good.
and it'll include it in your report for you.
Okay, and then that I know is PDF. You can attach it as a PDF, and you can also have it sort of each report on each page. So you don't have to print out an entire report. You can just say print page 3 or print page 5.
So you can attach them as images, yes, as PowerPoint or as PDF. In fact, you can really go fancy.
Yeah,
Right.
fantastic.
You can really. I think, again, let's rather start with simpler first. You know,
Definitely.
and every 3 months we do a massive enhancement on what it is that has come through now. But the more input we get from the offices, like I say, and what they require, the easier it is for us to start establishing that.
Very cool. All right, so thank you for that, Bianca. Just as a note, we're going to continue on next week as well. And next week, we're going to be inviting all the agents to attend the sessions. And so we're going to start very much on the same place where we started with the principals 3 weeks ago, but focusing more on, you know, how we believe agents can benefit from the system. Now, want to make it very clear that, you know, just starting from the contacts section, you know, the agents will monitor what has come in from the different portals and be able to interact with that client as we showed you on that contacts activity sheet. And, you know, from my point of view, I'm comfortable because that the more that agent captures against that client, the more data, the better sort of analytics and statistics we can start pulling when it comes to that deal page. So I'm excited for that.
I'm very excited because once the agents start using the system for their lead management, you as principals can start using HubSpot as the sales management tool.
Oh, that's fantastic. So thank you again, everyone. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to be in touch with you soon. Thanks, Bianca.
Thanks for doing this from the parking lot. I hope you
No,
win
it's
a
a
lot at the
pleasure.
blackjack table later today. Right. And thank you
Cheers for
everybody
now.
for your time and participation.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.